Work breakdown structure templates. Let's take a look at WBS templates within the project management and accounting module. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate creating a work breakdown structure template. And typically work breakdown structure templates are used if you have a WBS that is used over and over again, just so you don't have to define that work breakdown structure from scratch every time. So a few things that we'll demonstrate is the method to create a work breakdown structure template from scratch. So there's basically a form under the setup menu within the project module, and you can go in there and build your WBS and set all the default values for that WBS from scratch. Then the other option is to create a work breakdown structure at the project level and then flag it as a template. And then we'll go through importing an existing template into a new project. So this functionality is great, especially if you have huge work breakdown structures. I've run into the situations where they have a project that has thousands of tasks on it. And you can think of it if you're trying to track an ERP implementation in one project, and ERP implementation can have, technically hundreds of thousands of tasks, but it's usually pretty close to the same structure when you're implementing. So if it's just a good example of when to use a template, so you don't have to create everything from ground zero. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate the functionality, and hopefully you can put it to use. Okay, so we're going to go in and create a project work breakdown structure template. And to do that, there's a few different menus or ways to get to the form where you can define a work breakdown structure from scratch. You can do so under the project management and accounting, or project management workspace, I should say. You can see that the work breakdown structure template menu item exists here. If it didn't, you could always add it in. But I'll just show you through the navigation pane how you get there. So under project management and accounting module, setup, projects folder, there's the work breakdown structure templates. So from here, the standard demo data has some examples, and we can take a look. Let's look at this ERP implementation 01. So you can see where if you're going to implement ERPs for a living, you could build out a pretty complex WBS and then just keep reusing it. So this is pretty slick that AX has this functionality. I guess it's been around for a while, so this is nothing new. But the thing to note when you're defining a template is that there's some of the fields aren't available for use, specifically like dates and stuff like that, because AX actually tries to calculate the dates when you use it. But the cool parts about this is you can define the predecessors to help with projecting the dates, but primarily you can define the categories, effort, number of resources, roles, and then you can come into the estimated cost and revenue tab and build out basically your cost and revenue estimates. And if we look at, just get down to the lowest level here, you can see that it's defining that for us. So let's just build a quick one, and I'm not going to worry about the naming again. It's just a procedural thing. We'll just go through and add like 3 tasks to a template and define some details about them. So I'll create a new WBS, and we'll call it default small. And the reason I'm calling this one small is because a lot of times there's just not one default that works out. So let's pretend we're implementing ERPs. It's usually the same tasks that you go through, but there's implementations that are short, like a medium length, and maybe high complexity long length. So you could have different templates for each one of those. It's maybe default small, medium, and large. So I'll hit OK. And now we're basically in the editor to create your work breakdown structure. And you have a lot of the same buttons, I should say. So you can use the new button to add new tasks, and we'll just say task 1, and we'll leave the predecessors alone. I'm not going to worry about the categories for this time, but we'll just say there's 10 hours worth of effort for task 1, and I'll define a role too, just for fun. Say business analyst is doing this task. and then we can go to task 2, and we'll say 20 hours worth of effort, and it's going to be a different role that we need, maybe a software developer. And then we can say task 3, and we'll say 30 hours, just make things uniform, 1 resource, and it's a tester that we need. Okay, so now we have the work breakdown structure defined. What you probably also want to define are the predecessors, because those are going to be important. When you import this work breakdown structure template in, it's going to use that predecessor information to project the appropriate timeline. So I'll just say 1 here and 2 here. All right, so it's going to wait for task 1 to get done before we can fire off task 2, and task 3 is going to wait for task 2 to get done before it can start up. All right, the other valuable thing here is the estimated cost and revenue, that you can define this at a template level. So you can see that it's always going to add the information from your specific task. So we got the PM, it's tester. It doesn't define a unit cost price or unit sales price. That's okay, because when you actually import this into a project, it asks you, do you want to bring in the customer's rate? And you can always say yes, and it will use those applicable rates. But if you want to define rates here, you can, and it will. You have the option of using those as well. You can also add the additional hours, expenses, items, or fees that are associated with a specific task, and we'll just say that there's some expenses on this task, quantity of 10 at, I don't know, $40 a task, $50 sales price, and then we'll save that. All right. You can always look at the details too of a task and define notes and all the other information that you can define as well, and those will carry over. But other than that, you come in, define your tasks, and then you can define your estimated costs and revenue. And once you have that set up, all you need to do is basically close out of this form, which will save the information. And now we have our default small WBS template. In order to use this, basically you can go to the all projects list, create a new project or use an existing one. I'll just create a new one. Template, and we'll pick a specific group and a contract, and just hit create project. Once you're in the project, you just have to go to your work breakdown structure button, which is on the plan tab under the activities group. And then from here, all you have to hit is the import button. And there's 2 options here. There's show only templates, which means it's just going to show you the templates that you have available from your template list. And I could pick default small and go on my merry way. Or you can click no, and it's going to show you all quotes and projects and whatever, and you can select whichever one you want and pull in its WBS that was existing on whatever piece of data that you choose. I'm going to keep this at yes for our demonstration and just pick our default small and hit OK. And it's going to, there's that question that I brought up earlier. It says, do you want to apply the rate card for this customer instead of the rates in the selected work breakdown structure template? And I'm going to hit yes, because I didn't define them out in full on my WBS. So here's the cool thing. It projects the timeline for you. So you can see that we got 10 hours, which is going to cover 2 days, which is fine, based on an 8-hour calendar, and we only had 1 person working there. And then it's going to start the second task on 3:30, because we set up that predecessor of 1 having to be completed before you fire off task 2. And you can get the drift of what it's doing. Estimated costs and revenue are going to pull in appropriately. So you can see there's that expense that we added here. It did not bring over the rates from our template, which is fine, so we have to define those. All right, so those are set. So it's just a quick way of streamlining basically the creation process. Very valuable when you have large WBSs, because creating this from scratch is not fun. The other thing that you can do too is if you want to import another WBS under a specific node, you can do that. So you could pick like task 3, oops, I don't want to auto schedule, and then import like another template here. I'll just pick this very light one, hit OK. Sure. And now you can see if I blow that up, now it's got all the subtasks underneath it. So that's very useful too, and use cases for that are basically where you have you don't have basically just one gigantic template, and you can piece together your WBS using multiple templates. I've done that on a couple of implementations. It's worked out great. Still helps to streamline the creation of this. All right, so your other option is to basically take your existing template. You can define all your existing WBS and define all the information about it. And let's just go through that. I'll delete everything out of here. Oh, I want to select all. There we go. Oh, it won't let me do that. Well, let's go grab a different project. Let's see if there's an ERP implementation one. Here we go. So we have this ERP implementation project, and we'll look at the WBS on it. And you can see we have a rather large WBS, and it's using that template that I showed you a little earlier. That's all right. So maybe we have a revision of this where we get rid of support. I'm going to have to go and do this task by task real quick. Oh, I got to put myself in edit mode. Sorry about that. There we go. And now we can start crushing some of this stuff. There we go. So I'm going to pick a few of these, hit delete. Oh, come on, work with me here. There we go. Got rid of it. I'm going to publish it. Actually, I'll define a couple roles here as well. I'll say that this is going to be project manager since we have the category defined as PM. Perfect. And then we'll publish it. And I want to export it. So once you define your WBS, basically you can come in and export it out, and then it's going to go, what's the name of here? And we'll call it default medium. And you can put it as active or inactive if you want to. You could say, no, it's not active, and then have somebody go to that other form and update what you want to update. But I'll flag it as active, hit OK. And boom, now we have a new WBS template. So if I go look at that under Setup Projects Work Breakdown Structure Template, there's our default medium. And if we go into the details of it, there we go. And it even has our edited one exposed for us. And you can import it the exact same way that you want. If you want to make changes here, you sure can. But that's just an additional way to create a template, and that's probably the more commonly used way that I've seen. All right, so that's how you use project templates. Hopefully you can make use of them.